Thank you, Chairman. Mr. Friedman, I may have misunderstood, but I thought you said that after the passage of C-19, any keeping of a registry was somehow undemocratic. So if a province or a municipality was to pass legislation that permitted the keeping of a registry, would that still be undemocratic in view of C-19?
Yes, let me distinguish between two separate legislative tracks. The Chief Firearms Officer, despite the fact that he wears an OPP uniform and is a senior OPP officer, is a creation of the federal parliament. He is a creature of the Firearms Act. The Firearms Act has an opt-in, opt-out clause, meaning that provinces like Ontario who wish to opt in can appoint their own Chief Firearms Officer from the ranks of their own police forces, but his duties are circumscribed by the Firearms Act. The Firearms Act was amended in Bill C-19 with transitional provisions, and I would turn your attention to sections 29, subsection 1 and 2, wherein subsection 29(2) reads as follows: each Chief Firearms Officer shall ensure the destruction as soon as feasible of all records under their control related to the registration of firearms that are neither prohibited firearms nor restricted firearms, etc. If a province who is not bound by the Firearms Act or by Bill C-19 wanted to have a registry of firearms, like they have legislative authority and jurisdiction to register automobiles and fishing licenses, that would be fine. The Chief Firearms Officer cannot use the Firearms Act, the very Firearms Act that says that he has to destroy all records related to registration. In my view, in fact, all of the ledgers that have been kept between 1995 and the present day constitute records related to the registration of firearms that must actually be destroyed by the Chief Firearms Officer. And I would simply point out, in his letter which I provided this committee with, he writes, Bill C-19 does not define record of registration, end quote. And he says that, in his view, record of registration means only a number. I don't know if he received bad legal advice or if he simply misread the legislation, but the words record of registration are never used in Bill C-19. The term is records under their control, that is his, Chris Wyatt, related to the registration of firearms. And if a book which contains make, model, serial number, licensee's purchase information, address, etc., is not a record related to the registration of firearms, I don't know what is. So in my view, the subversion of democracy here results in him failing to comply with his obligations under Bill C-19.
But if the province was to pass legislation that permitted the keeping of a registry, he could then do that. Is that correct?
I don't know if he could do it as Chief Firearms Officer. They could pay for it themselves and they could do it. Right now, of course, the Firearms Act funds them as well. Yes, I don't see any major constitutional problem with the provinces going off and doing it on their own. He's using his legislative authority under the Firearms Act to do it, and in my view, that's impermissible.